Welcome to the Critically Casual Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Gunz, always
And I
on
am 7-Bit
time.
Brian. Yes, I interrupted you. What you gonna do about it?
We're always on. You're fired. We're always on time. Always on time. Obviously, just a wizard is never late, and neither is this podcast. Like 3 hours, 2 hours later.
Yeah, Gunz, what's going on there, man? What's up? What's up?
May have forgot to turn on my
Wake
alarm.
up.
But listen, it was a heavy night of VR, which is almost like being drunk after a certain point.
Okay, I didn't know you were. I noticed you were getting up some mornings and doing like VR workouts in the morning and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool actually. But I got a few things that I want to talk about with you, Gunz.
So
but before we get into that,
Brian scared me. He said I need to talk about this first, and I'm like, are we breaking up? What's going on?
No.
Show.
There's three very small things. One,
okay,
it is the most important thing all day. Like the rest of this show doesn't matter. No, but it's Pie Day. So if you're not eating pie, you're doing it wrong. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it was Pie Day when we recorded this, and you should have been eating pie, but use this as an excuse to eat more pie because it's okay. We
posthumously grant you permission to eat pie.
Yes, it's
pie,
perfectly
pizza
okay to
pie,
just eat an entire pie today.
Cream pot. Ooh.
I'm sorry, I just really like pie. Like I've always been a pie person.
I mean, it depends. What kind of pies?
Like, what do you mean? What kind of pies? Name a bad pie. You can't.
I'm not a fan of blackberry pie.
You're not. It's because you're probably not a fan of blackberries. That doesn't mean the pie itself is bad. It's just you don't prefer blackberries.
I think pecan pie can be too sweet and sugary.
Depending on who makes it. These are all semantic. Pie itself is amazing. But I want to talk about two things, Gunz.
Okay.
One, we got our first official, unofficial, I don't know what to call it because it's not really a review on our podcast.
Oh.
I say unofficial because it's not left as a review anywhere, but I think it's worth highlighting because it was brought up in a Discord conversation that I was in with 25 other people. We were all in there chatting. And one of them was like, Brian, you do a podcast, don't you? And I was like, yeah. And I mentioned what it was. And one of the other ones was like, yeah, I'll watch it. It's actually pretty okay to just put on and listen to in the background.
Do you hear that, San Francisco? Okay. We're pretty okay.
I was like,
we are pretty okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's something, right?
I'm glad my life is mounted to that. Thank you, viewer.
On a more serious note, because I mean, we're just having fun with this anyway. But on a more serious note with that, we actually have a guy that checks out a lot of our stuff on YouTube. A guy named Lucas Kale. He commented 2 different comments on the last podcast. One of them about Final Fantasy VII, but the other one he asked a question, and I thought it'd be interesting for us to discuss because I never even thought of this until he said it.
Okay.
So he's talking about The Division, right? How he's getting back into it and liking it. But then he goes on to further discuss Ubisoft and wants to know what our thoughts are on Skull and Bones. Because we basically heard nothing about that since they've announced it.
Yeah.
And he's like, is this canceled? Is this coming out? And I was like, holy shit, you're right. I haven't even... I completely forgot about that. It's like their Black Flag game, but they're making a full game, and making it its own thing. I completely forgot about it, and he brought it up, and I was like, damn, let's talk about that on the podcast.
It was originally slated for a 2018 release. From this website, they are now expecting it to release in March 2021. That's 3 years. I understand a game being delayed or stuff like that. You know what I think? 3 years probably means that they got to a point in development, and it was probably pretty far along in development because they had an expected release date. And they probably went through Q&A and all this stuff, and they're ramping up to do bug fixes and just solidify everything. And somebody pointed out, hey, this game kind of fucking sucks. And Ubisoft, being the company that they are recently, they are much more prideful about they're actually trying not to release bad games, in all honesty, and they're trying to support their games very well, especially if you pay attention to a lot of their big premier titles. I mean, the fact that we were talking about Division 2, the player numbers for the Division 2 have fallen off a cliff like a rock, and even with Warlords of New York, they are coming back, but not as much as you would like to see or expect. So I really think Ubisoft probably got a ways into development with Skull and Bones, and then looked at it and said, oh, this is shit. Well, how do we fix it? Well, we redeveloped the whole fucking game, Todd.
Yeah, because it's like they released like this big at E3 in 2018. They released this big gameplay video, and it actually looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And then they were like, register for the beta. They were like, register for the beta, and then we've heard nothing since. Like not a word. The website hasn't even updated since, and I'm like, ooh.
I won't say it looked good.
The last tweet I see from them on Twitter is from May 15th, 2019.
Mm-hmm. Because so here's the thing. Yeah, they're definitely buckling down. They were probably going to announce something about it at this year's E3 and announce it as like a next-gen title, which is probably why they actually ended up taking extra time than they anticipated in the first place. It's like, well, now we're nearing the end of the console's life cycle. Do we publish it this year, or do we remaster it, push it back for 4K? To be honest with you, when I first saw a gameplay reveal, like way back when, of Skull and Bones, it looked like shit. It looked like just ship combat from Assassin's Creed, from Black Flag. And I'll tell you something about that. That ship combat is fun, but it's not the meat and potatoes of that game. And it's like they were trying to make it the meat and potatoes of a game. And if you ask anybody about Black Flag and even Odyssey and the ship combat to a point, everyone will say, oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. But is it the only thing you're doing for hours and hours and hours and hours? Now, granted, there are probably a small percentage of people that'll say, well, yeah, and you're like, okay, you're a minority, shut up, your opinion actually doesn't matter. Wow, oh man. Ooh, that out of context. Well, I'm gonna have to edit that one. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I can see what you're saying, because yeah, if it's just, but I always assumed that there was going to be more to it than that, because we saw them like in a port, like doing upgrades and stuff. So I assumed maybe there was going to be more to it than that. But you're right. Looking back at the gameplay video now, there wasn't a lot that they showed that wasn't like on the ship doing things.
I think it was all just ship combat. I think because that ship combat system is relatively simple. So I think what they're going to end up doing, let's see if we can find some gameplay of it. But I think what they're going to end up doing for it is probably actually giving you, because I play Sea of Thieves, and I
sent you a link there.
Oh, okay. I got some here.
Hele Frida.
Ugh, that's loud. I play Sea of Thieves, and Sea of Thieves has got great ship combat, in my opinion, good enough. It doesn't really need to be, it could definitely be better, and it's actually, they've added a lot of features recently that make it better, in my opinion. We're gonna skip a little bit into this video, because this is just, no one cares about cinematics, we want actual gameplay, bitch. But I think it was literally just, their whole game was based off this, and, it's not long lasting, interesting, and engaging gameplay. This is like maybe 4 hours and you're bored.
Yeah, man, it's entirely possible because, like, I remember that we got a news, like rumor, or like, I don't really want to call it a rumor, but it was basically like, uh, insider information about like the number of games that they plan to release by the end of their fiscal year,
Yeah.
which is fiscal year is about this time next year, so they've got like almost a full year to do it, maybe a little bit less, right? But there were like two or three, like when you look at like what's been announced,
Yeah.
there were like two or three others. Like they have announced this many games, and then the number of games they're going to release is like two or three more than that. And we're like, all right, what are those? Because you haven't even announced. You know what I mean? Like,
So what?
so it could be
Is
this,
that
maybe Assassin's Creed. Maybe this is going to come out next year, very beginning of the year, and then Assassin's Creed's one of those. I don't know.
so?
Like
My question is, they always announce their Assassin's Creed on the year of its release here lately because they're doing it every 2 to 3 years now instead of every year. Thank God. Listen, game developers, and this is actually really targeted at Activision more than anybody. Stop releasing a game every fucking year. We like, so Halo 5 came out, and I was really disappointed with Halo 5. And I know there are a lot of people that say, "Oh, it was good." No, it wasn't. But now it's been so long since Halo 5, a lot longer than we usually expect in between Halo games. We're going on like 5-6 years at this point. I want Halo. I fucking want Halo. And I bet you there is a ton of people in the same boat as me that are like, we need Halo back now. And yeah, motherfucker, on PC, are you kidding me? Yes. But when you publish a game every fucking year, it's like, oh, let me spend $60 again that's gonna be irrelevant in 12 months. Which is why, this is something we'll talk about later, but I've recently been playing Warzone with a bunch of the guys in Discord, and I like it. I enjoy it. Warzone's a ton of fun. But I look at it and it's like, do I really want to invest a lot of time in this? Do I really want to invest a lot of money in this for cosmetics or anything like that? And I think about it and I say, no, because this is going to be replaced next year.
Yeah, because of the way Activision's doing their stuff. Yeah, I actually, when he first mentioned this, I was like, I wonder if they canceled that game, because Ubisoft has been, yes, they've had their mistakes in the past, but lately Ubisoft has been making the decisions to like really support their games and really like and if it's not going to be a good product, to just get rid of it and to really like do what's right for the gamers. Like they recently, there's been, we haven't talked about it here because it's more of a news thing, but the whole streaming services, like Google Stadia is like failing. And then Nvidia came out with their version of it, which everybody liked better, and it was much better. But then all these studios were like, well, I'm pulling my stuff off of that because I don't want you to be able to play it on there, which didn't make a lot of sense for me because you had to own the game to be able to play it. It was more like you were renting someone else's PC to be able to play it with better graphics.
In a second. We'll talk
about
that in a
Ubisoft
second.
was like, Ubisoft is one of the few developers that were like, no, you should be able to do that. We're going to allow you to do it. Go for it. We fully support it.
So it is a third-party streaming service that Nvidia has. And the thing is, Nvidia, even though you do have to own a copy of the game to have it on there, they were just putting games on there. They didn't ask the developers or the publishers, hey, can we put your game on our live streaming service?
Here's the thing, though.
They have to ask.
Technically, no, do they, though? Because I'm not technically doing anything with your game. I'm just renting someone my PC to play it with. That's really what the service was. That's really what the service was, is you were streaming it from a better PC that runs it better than yours. Because why else would you get it otherwise? You know what I mean? Because you still had to own the game. So I still bought a copy. I still did that.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. When you purchase a copy of the game from Ubisoft or Activision or anybody else, you have purchased a license for yourself. Now, what you're saying is extremely relevant to the point. If you're using this live streaming service, it's like streaming the copy of your license from another service, and that is their IP. It's their right to protect it. So they absolutely have the say-so in being able to take it out of a live streaming service platform when the live streaming service platform didn't even ask if they can live stream their game. Live streaming service, their game, you know, they absolutely have to ask. Absolutely.
That makes more sense for something like Stadia, where you're actually buying the game there and doing that. But this wasn't like that. This was.
I think it's still okay. If somebody
it's literally
was
using your license.
so if
this is like me coming to your house and logging into my game and using my license on your PC.
Yeah,
I don't have to ask them permission to do that. So why would
because it's you physically interacting with the PC. You have to ask me permission, motherfucker.
Well, you get what I'm saying. I don't have to ask Blizzard permission to do that shit.
But it's still there.
No, I think it's pure greed. I think it's just you do not get hurt by allowing someone to do this. You'll actually get more.
How is it pure greed? How is it pure greed though?
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's just pure stupidity. Yeah,
it's just no. It's not stupidity. It's just protecting your IP. That's all it is.
But this doesn't hurt your IP because you still have to buy the copy.
To be honest with you,
buy the license.
To be honest with you, I don't know that it does or doesn't. You could think that it doesn't. Like your first thought would be like, well, yeah, that wouldn't. But corporately, when you're thinking about it, well, does this hurt our IP? I don't really know. We don't really know.
Ubisoft has given the okay for every game they've ever released, so they took a look at it and said, yeah.
Yeah, Ubisoft did, but Ubisoft is also on a roll right now. Ubisoft's really trying to take up a lot of ground. Ubisoft is being very aggressive in the market because they're expanding very quickly. Ubisoft was the fastest gaining market share of a video game company in the last, 2 years or something like that. They're growing ridiculously fast. And they want to be aggressive about that. They want to make decisions that are seen as good PR.
They want to make, positive decisions that benefit me as a consumer. This doesn't hurt them, but it benefits me as a consumer. So when Blizzard takes it off there, that still doesn't hurt them whatsoever, but it gives me no benefit as a consumer, and it makes me like, all right, well, if you don't want me to allow me to do that, then why am I, it just makes it look bad. I think, I don't think that IP rights would come into this because you still have to purchase the license, and I think it all would come down to that.
It absolutely comes into IP rights. Absolutely play into it. It'd be kind of like, okay, if Twitch was streaming something, and Twitch said, hey, or let's say if Twitch was streaming something and YouTube said, hey, we're gonna restream Twitch's best live streamers, and then we're going to say, hey, go over there and subscribe to that Twitch streamer while we restream it on our platform. Do you think that's okay?
That's not exactly what's happening here, though. That's
Is it not? Yeah. Okay. Let me rephrase it a little bit.
No, because
let me rephrase it a little bit. Twitch is restreaming, YouTube is restreaming the top broadcasters off of Twitch. In order to watch it on YouTube, you have to subscribe to their channel on Twitch, but you can watch it on YouTube. Is that okay? Because that is a pretty clear, I think that's a pretty good definition of what's happening here. Oh, and you're also paying YouTube, the subscription service, to watch them as well. Is that okay?
See, I don't think that's a one-to-one comparison though, because it's not. It's not like just a platform thing.
It could be a platform thing. It's definitely a platform thing. How many publishers have their own platform now?
Okay, but here's where it's not a one-to-one comparison thing. YouTube is going to grow off of other people seeing that stream. Nvidia isn't going to grow because other people won't see my game that I just, you know what I mean? It's just me. I'm just getting the ability to play it on a better PC that I rented.
That's not necessarily true, because you are using an Nvidia platform to do it, and you know you're using an Nvidia platform to do it, and you have to have an Nvidia graphics card to do it.
This is the same as me opening up a business that rents out physical PCs. You come into my website, subscribe to it, okay, and then I'll send you that PC, and you're allowed to play these games that you own on it. But as long as you're not paying the subscription, when you don't pay the subscription, I come and repo that fucking PC. That's basically what this is. But instead of actually shipping it to your house, I'm just going to stream the video of it to you over the internet, because that's much more cost effective than shipping PCs to your house.
It's not the same, because it is a live streaming service platform for those kinds of games. Like, I don't necessarily, I see where you're coming from, but I don't necessarily think that these studios think it's harmful. They just don't know. And if I was to give you an honest answer about whether or not I think this is harmful to the IP or the publisher, my honest answer is, I don't know. Because I don't have any kind of metadata of what kind of user statistics is it's affecting. Is it taking people off our platform? It might be. We don't know. We've not even looked into the numbers.
How's it taking people off your platform?
Well, I don't know.
You still have to log into the Blizzard launcher to play WoW. You're just doing it from someone else's PC now.
But it's still someone else's platform and someone else's PC. It's totally an IP rights thing, dude. These companies have a right to protect their creative properties.
I don't think that's what's going on here, though. I don't think that comes into play, because I still have to purchase the license, and I still have to use your platform.
Yeah,
I'm just doing it from another PC. If I had two PCs, I'm not asking you permission. If I could run on that one over there, I'm just gonna fucking do it, because I've already purchased the license to do that.
Okay, here's another angle I'll come at it from. What if, because I don't know if you've ever live streamed any games on a live streaming service or whatnot. It's not good. Even the best is not good, right? Slow.
No, actually, they're getting pretty decent. I did the another thing I was going to start talking about is a game series I've started to replay, and the reason I'm replaying it is the 3 or 4 games in the series that I haven't been able to play are on the PlayStation live streaming service, and it's like I get no issues with it. It's perfect.
There's noticeable latency, big noticeable. I'm sure you can see that. And what's the game?
God of War.
Okay. Do you not have any kind of
God of War series? No.
No kind of noticeable latency issues.
Nope.
None whatsoever.
Nope.
No lagging, stuttering, anything like that.
I have not had any. I mean, I just started
hereby condemn you to your problems. It'll happen 100%, because the fact is ISPs in the United States are not that consistent.
Yeah, when my internet drops, it'll probably. But so far, I haven't had the issue.
Trust me, when your ISP starts to get that's the big thing here, is that when you put a product on a live streaming service, you no longer control the fidelity of the product. It is up to that ISP to do it at that point. And so they could also be looking at this as a fact of, we don't have quality control of our product if it's on another platform's live streaming service with somebody else's IP in another country. That's 2 factors that we can't control. If it was on our own streaming platform, we could at the very least control that and know there's quality there. But if it's on somebody else's streaming platform and somebody else's ISP, that's 2 factors that we have no control over. So it could very much be a quality of IP thing, because there are a ton of, like, okay, for instance, whenever Randy Pitchford was at PAX and was showing the trailer for Borderlands, they were showing the trailer and it was like stuck and stuttering at 30 FPS, and Randy got pissed on stage. He's like, this is why you always bring your own equipment, folks. And he's like, I thought, they said this would work. Why does it not work? Like, he was on stage, like, not bad-mouthing him, but obviously making a public fool of them. Like, hey guys, you said you'd take care of this for us. on stage publicly. So it was at that point that Randy had no control over the quality of his IP and how it was shown to the public, or the public's perception of it. So he didn't have control of his IP at that point. If somebody buys a game and then live streams it and it's bad quality and they say, yeah, that game was shit, but it's the problem of the live streaming service or the ISP itself, who's to actually blame there? The company that made the game, or Nvidia, or the ISP? Quality control of your IP, man. Public perception of games is everything today.
I guess I can see it from that point of view, but you still get the same thing with like people playing on different PCs and optimization, and you still get the same thing on your like they're a lot of these companies are like, yeah, we're not on that, but we're on Google Stadia, and Google Stadia is fucking horrible right now.
That's because Google Stadia paid them a lot of fucking money.
Nvidia's like runs way better.
Yeah, but Nvidia's not paying them any money. That upfront fee that Google Stadia was paying people was essentially like, hey, if your game gets publicly badmouthed, you at least got several $1 million out of us. Nvidia's not paying them for that. Quality control. You know 100% that if somebody, you know that games sell to the public literally based on graphics. Because there are a lot of consumers that are that shallow.
That's true, but I still think the downsides of this, if that's the only downsides of this, they are far outweighed by the positive impact on gamers, and I think it's.
If I was to publish
a video, I think the number one factor is Stadia paid them and Nvidia didn't. They want money for it, so they're like, "Hey, Nvidia, we're ripping our stuff off there unless you pay us," and they probably left that part in the background with Nvidia, and it's just.
Some of them, I know, as much as I hate and dislike and badmouth Activision, I know for a fact that Activision just ripped it off there. Activision may come back at them later on with an offer, but they wanted it off there to begin with because Activision is meticulous about the quality control of their games. I know that Call of Duty is the same every year, but it's the exact same every year. There's hardly any bugs. There's no frame rate issues, no stuttering, no optimization issues. I mean, name a Call of Duty that had major bugs or optimization issues that you can think of.
Maybe not Call of Duty, but...
Yeah, it got real quiet for a minute, huh?
Maybe not Call of Duty, but not all their stuff. But yeah, I get
what else does Activision publish?
I think... I mean, barely anything, but
they
do publish other stuff.
No, they don't.
I mean, excuse me, what... The big blow up about Battlefront, it's good these days, but wasn't just about loot boxes. That game was also like running horribly and buggy as fuck, and you know they fixed it. But yeah, but anyways, I can see it from that point of view. I think the money is the biggest factor though, and I think that being the only downside is far outweighed by the positive impacts it has on consumers. And I don't agree with any company that does it.
I can actually really disagree there because being able to control the quality of your IP and the public perception of your IP also directly relates to money. The fact is, you know, these companies, it's hard for a lot of developers because these developers are at the mercy of publishers. If their game doesn't meet publisher expectations, then these developers get shut down. EA is a perfect example of this, shutting down Visceral, who was a costly studio, and then got self-absorbed into them. There are lots of studios, like, okay, for instance, Battlefield 5 sold 7 million copies, something like that, and was considered a failure because it didn't meet its target. Anybody else would call 7 million copies a goddamn success.
Yeah, that's just because EA is stupid.
But that developer is still at the mercy of the publisher, still at the mercy of the publisher. So it is in not only the developer's best interests to be able to control what kind of message they want to send out about the public perception of their game in viewing experiences or playing experiences. Most importantly, playing experiences.
I will say, it's mostly not developers that have done this. It's mostly big publishers that have done this, that pulled their stuff.
Well, you don't necessarily know that because the developer could go to their publisher and say, "Hey, this game's on a live streaming platform."
I don't know that, but I have seen like and publishers pull like everything that they've published off of there. So,
well, they probably gets games. It could very well get brought up to them by one developer, and they say, "Oh, well, we should probably pull everything if one of our developers is if one of our developers is concerned about it, we should probably pull the rest of our stuff." I do see it as being a quality control thing. Absolutely. Because, okay, if you bought a game and then you're streaming it on NVIDIA Shield or NVIDIA live streaming service, and it sucks because of NVIDIA's live streaming service or your ISP, and you're like, well, this game's stupid, and you've only played it for an hour, refund. Who does that hurt?
I can see where you're coming from with that, but I think consumers are smart enough to recognize this as a new technology, and I also think that's undercut by the fact that the majority of the ones that have pulled from it are still on the worst live streaming service, the one that run like shit.
I would like to remind you that this country 4 years ago elected Trump as president.
Okay,
you're going to tell me that consumers are smart enough. Yeah. We're not smart enough about our own goddamn country. You're going to tell me consumers are smart enough about what they buy?
Look at it this way. The majority of the ones that have pulled themselves are over here still running on Google Stadia, which means the money was more important. The money that Google paid them was more important than that quality control.
Karen still thinks essential oils will cure her child of coronavirus.
Who?
Consumers aren't smart enough, Brian. They're not.
Who the fuck are you talking?
Karen.
Oh,
always at the manager lady,
Karen?
giving her the Karen, right? Consumers are not smart enough. They're not. All right. They're just not. Again,
I think that entire argument is still undercut by the fact that most of them are still on Google Stadia, which runs like objectively like shit and makes games look like shit.
Yeah,
but
because
they're still on there because they got paid. It was all about that paycheck, and they want one from NVIDIA.
It's padding to protect their IP. Hey, if we
that doesn't protect your IP. It does pure shit. But hey, we got paid.
No. How does that not protect your IP? If your IP is if the public opinion of your IP is hurt by Google Stadia, they have paid you a subscription, a live streaming service fee, which does
not protect your IP.
What else is protected? Why would you protect your IP if not for your bank account?
People are still going to view that IP as shit because it's running like shit. So they're not going to purchase future copies of it. Yeah,
but that's the thing. The money they would lose from people not purchasing copies was made up by Google Stadia paying them.
In the short term, I still don't think in the long term.
That's all that publisher.
And that again comes back to just the money, not the IP itself.
All that publishers and developers look at. Name a publisher that's looking at long term. Aside from CDPR, which they're a developer. All publishers are looking at short term.
We were just talking about Ubisoft. They seem to be making the right calls.
Ubisoft is the other very aggressive publisher right now, but that's it. That's really it.
And yeah, I mean, CD Projekt is technically, they got their publishing wing and they got their game sales wing, So yeah, no, we've got a few that are making, but yeah, I get what you're saying. But I think we're gonna argue around each other on this just because we view it very differently. But I mean, that is what it is. All right, I got one other thing I want to talk about. I think it's gonna be a long discussion. So first, Gunz, what you been playing this week?
I've been getting back into GTA RP.
Oh, really? I did not expect that.
I've been watching it for so I was really heavy into RP, like the genesis of RP, which for me was Silver Lake on Arma 2, which was like 5-6 years ago, okay? Longer than that, actually. And then shortly after that, there was Arma 3, and there was The Island, and there was a couple other RPs within Arma, and then there was 5M. And within 5M, the one that blew up immediately was State of Emergency, and I played on that as well. State of Emergency was like the wild, wild west of fucking GTRP in the days. Dude, anything could happen. It was crazy. It was awesome. It was explosive and expansive for like 6 months, and then it went downhill really fast. And then the reformation of Family RP came. And I was on NoPixel, both in Arma and in GTA for a while. NoPixel on Arma, it was kind of the only thing that I knew at the time, so I was kind of accepting of it. But NoPixel on GTA, after experiencing State of Emergency and Family RP, they're different flavors of ice cream, to say the least. And I definitely prefer Family over NoPixel for certain reasons, but everybody has their own flavor that they enjoy, for a lot of reasons. Way too many to even get into. But I've been playing on Family RP, again recently, and, really enjoying it, really starting up some new storylines and things like that. It's really kind of hitting its stride again. Family RP's made a really, I think, good decision. So, currently the server holds 72 players, and they're attempting to push it up to 128. The devs are actively working on that, talking about it. They want it to be stable more than anything first, and pushing it to 72 already makes things a little kind of wonky. But that's something they're definitely looking forward to and attempting to do. They have closed down their public server. So beforehand, to get on the public server, you basically just had to register on their website and connect your Twitch and Discord, and you could get on their public server if you could get through the queue. They've closed that down, and they've started an applicant program. So you apply on their website, and basically what this has led to is a huge influx of new people onto the whitelisted server. So as an applicant status, these people basically have to prove that they are capable of RPing or generating good RP to get that applicant status removed and that whitelist status added. As an applicant, you're kind of like, I won't say you're hanging by threads or anything like that, but you're very much like on, short term.
Like probationary.
Yeah, basically trial period, if you will. Okay. They're gonna watch you, monitor you, report on you about some things, and be like, hey, yeah, no, this person's good at RP, good fit for the server, yada yada yada. So that's kind of important. And the great thing about this is the thing that I disliked, and I kind of stopped RPing on Family for a while, was that it was the same people every night, night in, night out, night in, night out, night in, night out. Nothing changed because it was the same people. They'd already played out all their storylines. They'd done everything. They were trying to think of new characters, but some of them were just getting burnt out on it. It was a big, big creative. You got to think about it. They had a bunch of people on a server that may or may not be the creative types, but you're asking them all, okay, you've been creative for like 2 years. Now we need you to be creative again, reinvent yourself and your characters, and continue on.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It really is hard. I mean, the last time I'm actually thinking of a new character, and I was playing D&D with my Curse of Strahd group yesterday, and one of my players, Lucy, gave me a new idea for a character, and I was just like, oh god, yes. I play, I don't want to do the accent. I play Gunny Robinson.
Do the accent, Gunz. Do the accent.
I play Gunny Robinson on the Family RP, and he's from Sandy.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, dude. So Gunny Robinson is like the character that I play all the time. He's my fuck around character. I have a lot of fun with Gunny. I have a more serious character that I've been working on structured, who's Elliot, and Elliot just has like a more serious tone. He's really kind of on the nose about things. He tries to be as prevalent as possible. And then the new dude that I'm creating, or that I had the idea of, was this really, really fat dude named Bob Iger. And yeah, okay. Bob Iger is, well, his parents named him Bob because they thought he'd be successful. But he's not. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. And what I was really trying to develop him, like, Bob being just like fat and mildly retarded isn't funny enough. So what makes him better? And Bob is really into anime and waifu pillows, and he sleeps with, and they're action figures, not dolls. Action figures. And so that's Bob. You may see him soon if you watch my Family RP streams. Yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
All right.
Because it's I mean, it's been a while since I've watched any of these streams and stuff like this.
Okay.
And I may just be out of the loop here.
Right.
This seems like it would be perfect for Red Dead 2 as well. Is there RP Red Dead 2 servers? Have they?
You are out of the loop on this one, actually. Yeah. Red M is a current ongoing project and has been since the release of Red Dead 2 on PC, because GTA RP is hosted on 5M. There's a lot of problems with Red M though at the moment. Key of which being, so 5M requires you to own a copy of GTA 5 to be able to play on 5M. 5M only uses single player app, from my knowledge, which is limited. Okay, for those of you that are going to criticize me in the comments, go fuck yourself. 5M only uses single player content, from what I understand, and modified content, or basically self-created content. And that is so they're not stepping on the toes of Rockstar and their online multiplayer and saying, hey, no, we're not doing anything with any kind of online multiplayer assets or anything like that. It's all single player and all self-created, just in our own server. Because you've probably heard the stories of Rockstar coming after 5M and stuff like that, so 5M's been very careful not to step on their toes. Well, Rockstar's still at it. So basically there's a way that 5M or Red M checks that you own a copy of the game. And it basically verifies that you own a legitimate copy. Well, recently Rockstar changed how it verifies you own a legitimate copy. And by doing that, Red M currently cannot figure out how it pulls that, again, to basically verify that the people coming on Red M have a legitimate copy. So they just can't let players in. Because if they were letting anybody in, whether they owned a legitimate copy or not, they would say, hey, you're hurting our business model because you're allowing pirated games on your service, and they'd shut them down instantly. So the problem that they have right now is that if you've never logged on to Red M, you can't get on right now, period. The only people that are there are the people that have already installed it. So yeah, it's definitely and there's a ton of developmental hurdles as well. It's not like Rockstar games come with their own creation kit and developer tools. A lot of this stuff is stacked on top by users.
Yeah, I always questioned why, like, this community, this RP community is part of what's kept GTA 5 so relevant over all of these years.
Yup.
But they haven't done really much at all to support it.
Yup.
And that I always, like, I expected that to be different when, that's why I was out of the loop for the Red Dead thing, because, like, when it was coming out for PC, I thought maybe, like, hey, this is where they'll be like, all right, and we're gonna, we recognize that, the RP for GTA 5 is great, so we're gonna, work in some actual support for that and this, and they didn't. So I was just like, well, what the fuck? Like, it hasn't. So why wouldn't you? Like,
Rockstar probably would.
It's almost like carrying half of the interest.
Rockstar probably would. Rockstar doesn't necessarily have a problem with people modding their games or modding communities in general. However, Rockstar's publisher 2K does. And it's been 2K 2K has been viciously aggressive about this kind of stuff when it comes to modding communities and whatnot like that. Anything that strays outside a deviated line is just like destroyed and gone.
Yeah, I forgot they were under 2K. Isn't 2K the ones that like sent people to
Yeah.
a YouTuber's actual house, like
Yeah.
trying to threaten him and stuff? And I'm like, what now? Yeah, 2Ks can. Yeah, y'all can go fuck yourselves, 2K.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. I never got into the RP myself playing it, which is kind of crazy because I'm really into Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. I just never got around to doing it myself. But I definitely got into the streams and watching other people play. So I'll definitely, jump into yours and watch you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
It's been a ton of fun getting back into it because I haven't played in about a year and a half. Where it just hit that slump of everybody's doing the same thing, and it was like,
Yeah.
But now
it's because it all started as like a big blow up thing. Everybody was hitting that slump right around the same time, and it's just that creativity. Like you got to have that time to recharge and
yeah, absolutely,
interesting,
absolutely. And not to mention there's drama going around everything all the time. And it's rare for communities to survive that much drama, but Family RP did survive a lot of drama, which is great. It's because it's a good community and people that needed to step up in the right places stepped up. And it's got a long storied history for sure. But yeah, it's that applicant, whoever thought of that applicant process was really quite smart. Because it introduces basically a whole new population into a very controlled, and that's the important thing about RP is that it does need to be a controlled environment. Because I've definitely played on some servers where people just fucking, you don't have to whitelist, you can just join the server. And so the admins and the cops and the moderators on the server are just chasing down people that are RDMing, all the random death matching, for those who don't know, that are just running around shooting people all the time. So when you're trying to have an RP world, when you're trying to have an RP world and you have people just rolling by, blowing everything up, it's kind of like, well, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah, you really got to curate an experience like that to make it.
And Fam RP has managed to do that with this applicant status process. It's really good.
That sounds really cool. I look forward to checking out some of your streams and maybe jumping into a few others that I used to watch that I kind of fell off too because I just, lost interest myself.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
What is the other thing that you want to talk about, Brian? You seemed excited about this game.
Well, I mean, I assume it's probably going to be a pretty long conversation.
Oh,
so I don't know if you want to talk about it yet.
Oh, God.
But, I mean, we made jokes in the past about our podcast being called the Destiny Cast. I have a lot to say about the new Destiny season. Like, a lot. I've put some time into it.
I
have a lot to say.
I don't wanna.
You haven't even put much time into it, have you?
I have put time into it. I regret the time I've already put into 10 or so hours.
See, I have really mixed feelings about this season because there's some things I really, really like once I dug into them and learned about them and got to them. And then there's other things where I'm just like, why the hell did you do this? Like this, everybody saw this was a mistake. Why did you, what? And I've nicknamed it, it's not Season of the Worthy, it's Season of the Grind. We've taken Destiny grind and added more grind on top of that grind. And then we put some grind inside of that grind and then wrapped it all up in a big wrap of grind.
Yup.
So, but I mean, do you want to go ahead and talk about this?
Sort of. I want to talk about a few things. I do want to talk about Trials and what I currently dislike about it, which is a lot.
Yeah,
and then
Trials,
I want to talk about players' opinions of Trials that I've seen and why these people's some of them are gonna hate me. I think the people that have a different opinion here are literally stupid. So let's start off in a different way. Brian.
Okay.
Do you think that World of Warcraft PvP should have the same rewards from beginning to end, or in World of Warcraft PvP Battlegrounds, should you get better rewards the better you are?
I mean, any PvP game, the second you get better rewards, the better you are.
Okay. Now, if you get better rewards the better you are, does that mean you have an unfair advantage over players that are not as good as you then?
No. And the people that are complaining about that, I agree. That's dumb. I still have problems with trials, though. The way it was implemented, the way they did certain things.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But why? Why, Brian?
Well,
I'm not leading him here, folks. He's answering on his own.
You have to reward effort. Period. Like, if I've put more time into this and I am better at this than you, it should be shown. Also, a lot of that should be handled with proper matchmaking as well. I'm not going to be, if I'm that good, I shouldn't be put in matches with brand new players that are just coming in the trials. They haven't done any yet and they're just at 960, right? So, but I should have something to show for that. There is such a thing as, I don't know, like, I don't.
Performance based rewards?
Yeah, giving everybody the same reward. I've never been okay with that in any type of game, and any MMO, anything whatsoever. I don't do this in the real world. I don't do this whole participation trophy thing. No, like, if you want the best stuff, you got to be the best. I'm not the best, and I've accepted that I will never get this best stuff, but I'm okay with that. I think it's cool that it's there.
To tell me, Brian, that people are treated differently based how good they are at something?
Yeah, I'm not a pro gamer. I don't get paid to play video games.
What?
Others do.
That almost sounds like reality, Brian, and the actual job market, Brian, and structured government, Brian. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Welcome to the real world, you snowflake jerk-offs.
Yeah,
for fuck's sake, dude.
About that. I mean, that's the people complaining about that. Were you complaining about, like, I mean, this is kind of taken a little bit further, but it's giving people more reason to play. But were you complaining about it every other season when we had like special rewards from the Drifter when we did certain things and other, like, there were people that weren't able to achieve that stuff. Like, that's I don't know. That's a dumb complaint for me. My complaint of this is the implementation of the reward system. It's only active on the weekends, which is fine. Though I'd probably extend it and make it like a 3-day weekend if I were them. Like, I'd try to make it longer for them. But the problem is those really awesome rewards and armor pieces that you can buy for getting a 7-win streak, which technically you can just get a 6-win streak if you purchase the right kind of entry ticket.
Right.
But also you might want to purchase the other one so that if you lose one, you could still get a 7-win streak.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into it. That stuff's kind of fine. Where it comes into is once you get access to that and you can buy the armor, I can buy one thing this week. Yep. That's it. So next week I have to play again and buy one more thing. And then literally, like, I don't, unless they start, there's no way during this season, if you miss a week, unless they start replacing things and enabling me to buy 2 pieces a week or something like that. If I miss a week and don't get my 7-kill streak during it, I won't be able to complete this armor during the season. Period.
So
like, if I had a busy weekend where I had a cookout and wanted to go to a show or something and just didn't play Destiny, I'm fucked. I don't get it.
Well, that's not necessarily true because it's gonna last for 12 weeks. So you've got 12 attempts, basically.
Okay, no, you have, but each weekend is 1 piece of armor, and there's 5 armor slots.
Right.
So 5, 10. So you have 2 slots at every armor piece, and then the last 2 weeks, I don't know what they do.
You have 2 slots in every armor. What?
You have 2 attempts. If they do 1 armor spot a week, that's 1 attempt, 1 attempt, 1 attempt, 1 attempt, 1 attempt for head, 1 attempt for arms, 1 attempt for chest, 1 attempt for legs, 1 attempt for bond or whatever,
right,
like,
that's
depending on what
5 attempts.
Okay, 5 attempts. So that's 5 weeks.
We're learning to count with Brian.
Yeah, 5 more weeks. That's 10 weeks this has been running, and you've gotten 2 attempts. on each armor piece, and then you've got 2 weeks left over, which I don't know what they put during those weeks. Because you remember, you can only purchase one type of armor.
Oh well, Trials isn't going away.
Only your head slot.
Trials is permanent.
Oh, they're not going to drop it after the season?
No, they've already said that. Trials is permanent.
Okay, all right. Okay, that makes it a little bit different. I still think, however...
I agree with you that weapons and armor should not be on a weekly rotation. I think it should just be a loot pool that you can grab. Whatever you grab up, whatever you get rewarded is what you get. I agree with that. My problem is the rewards itself. Number one, to get weapons, you don't actually have to go flawless. That's not my problem. We'll get to my problem in a second. Number two, for going flawless, you get armor. That's one of my problems. Armor's fucking useless. All armor is the same. Sorry, it is.
You're basically buying looks.
Armor 2.0 system has systematically failed in their idea and vision in making armor important. It's not important anymore. You get armor, you max it out at 10 plus stats. There you go. You got your 10 power. You got your 10 armor. You don't need. Why do you need? You don't. You just. So the armor is pointless. Why do you get a pointless reward for going flawless? Secondly, if you go flawless, you get like a glow on the armor that lasts a week. Why do I want something temporary for sweating my ass off in the Crucible? I'm sorry, going flawless in Trials is not easy. I'm pretty good at PvP. It's not easy, motherfuckers.
No, I haven't done it yet.
You gotta have a decent team comp, or you gotta be a Crucible god that can carry somebody. My second problem is that there are no adept weapons. So in Destiny 1 and Trials, there were adept weapons. If you went flawless in Destiny 1, you got adept weapons, which were a version of the weapons you could get for not winning, but slightly better. Were they significantly better? No, they were slightly better. There are no adept versions of the weapons, and this rolls all the way back around to what I was saying about people are treated differently in the real world based on their performance and things. People like to be rewarded for their hard work. If you're some jaded ass snowflake, and I am going to use the term snowflake here, even though I hate a lot of older people that say, ooh, snowflakes, you motherfuckers are snowflakes when you're pissed off about somebody being better than you and getting better rewards because of it. People are just better at you than things. Get over. I am not mad or complaining about the dude that is better at being a doctor than me, therefore he gets to be a doctor and a surgeon. He's smarter at what do you, fuck you? Oh, makes me so mad. These people. It's like, and I guess from my point of view, because I would say I'm in the 80th to 90th percentile, which means I believe myself to be better than 80 to 90% of the majority of players. If I am better than you and I work hard for something and I don't get rewarded for it, why am I going to continue to work hard for it? I'm not. I'm just gonna quit. I'm gonna say, fuck that, all that time and effort for nothing?
Yeah,
fuck you!
In my opinion, the one armor piece a week thing is not good. I should be able to get more. Oh, two, yeah. It's very, very, very hard to win all 7 and get this, right? Yep. So the whole my armor glows for a week is not enough.
Yep.
Now, if this was an ornament that makes my armor glow like that, and I can unlock the whole set and earn that would be much better. And then, next season you can introduce a new ornament set, or maybe 2 seasons from now. Every so many seasons you release a new ornament set that's earnable. And you can tell that people have actually worked their way into this and done the work to get this ornament set, and it makes that a very sought after and fun reward for people. But that's not the way we have it right now.
Here was my solution to it. You get tokens from Trials. You have enough tokens to turn in to get yourself weapons and armor pieces. Whether you win or lose, if you play enough in a weekend, you could complete a whole armor set and get all the weapons. If you go flawless, though, you will get 1 adept weapon randomly. So you can go flawless multiple times to get adept weapons, all of them. And these adept weapons look slightly different and are slightly better. So everyone knows it's an adept weapon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
My other thing you could do is that in order to get the glows on the armor, since everybody would have the armor from just playing enough and turning in tokens, if you go flawless 7 times, you get the glow on all your armor. As a, like you said, a cosmetic.
An ornament.
Yeah, an ornament, basically.
So, yeah, I like that. I think that would be pretty good. I think, yeah, the way they implemented trials is, like I said, I have mixed feelings about this season, because when we get into the PvE stuff, I have mixed feelings on that, because a lot of people are also calling these Seraph weapons like crap. All the stuff that you can get from the PvE from Rasputin. No, I'm gonna counter you on that. Because a lot of people are overlooking something, which is kind of making sense because Bungie has taught us to overlook it. Okay. But this season we shouldn't be. So the Seraph weapons you get from the PvE stuff, and you can get them from trials. So last season we had this thing where like the season's thing that you can get for weapons was charged by light, and it was useless, and everybody ignored it. It was dumb. I forget what it was the season before because it was useless. Everybody ignored it. It was dumb.
Right.
This season they have a new thing called Warmind cells that can drop. It's not useless. Everybody should stop ignoring it. It's fucking awesome, like what it can make your weapons do and the cool combo effects that you can get from it. This season they did that right, and you want to start plugging that into these Seraph weapons, and it makes them really fun and unique.
I've not actually looked into that because I've not done enough of the new Rasputin stuff.
Well, like no one is, and it's also like every previous season we ignored this final mod thing because it was useless. It didn't do anything for us, and there was like we've overlooked it. This season I understand why everybody is, but this season when you do it, you can get these perks on there, right? Let me see here. So when you the charge by light thing makes no sense. This season, when you hit something with a Seraph weapon, when you have these mods plugged in, right, you have a chance to drop a Warmind sound, which is like a little Warmind shaped orb that drops on the earth that rolls around, right? So the mods for that mean that, and I think it's like a 20% chance to drop them or something like that too, right? And arc abilities spawn them or something. I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it. But the mods for it are really, really cool. So I've got a mod that makes it where when one of those cells drop, any enemy that is nearby the cell has its damage output reduced. So just by damaging people, it's dropping cells and their damage is reduced. On top of that, I have another mod that makes it so that if I shoot the cell itself and damage it, it lets out a burst of suppressing void energy that blinds and slows enemies down. And then a third mod that makes it so that if I blow that up, it extends the range of both of those and basically it captures an entire room. So I'm doing these cool combo effects affecting the enemies, and it's actually really cool. And then like looking into like the mods that we don't have access to yet because this entire season is time gated.
Right.
Like some of the combos that we're gonna get out of this look really, really fun. And look like they'll be really cool. And this is the last season and the season before we ignored that final mod slot because it didn't do anything for us. This season, those mod slots are gonna like really change and affect how we play and can change. It looks fun. So far, what I've gotten from it, it's fun.
Last season, the mods definitely had an effect if you made an attempt to use them in that particular method. I will say that. But there were definitely a large majority of people that ended up not using them at all because they didn't even the difference wasn't made publicly aware very well. But yeah, so that sounds interesting and everything like that. My big problem with the PvE content is just how grindy it is, and that it's just reskinned obelisks from last season. It's so fucking grindy.
The public event. The public event is literally like it's like an obelisk mixed with like a tower or something. It's not that it's barely anything to do. By the time the only reason it's hard right now is because we have people that aren't not 980 and trying to do it, so everybody shows up as a skull for them, so they literally get like 2 shot and stuff like that. But I'm
not even 970 yet. I don't care so much,
Yeah, but then like like the weapons. To get the weapons, you have to unlock to be able to even start working on your weapon frames. You have to unlock level 3 for your bunker, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So to unlock, I just did this and started playing with the weapons and started messing with the mods and stuff like that, like yesterday and
It
today,
takes
right?
so long.
So long, yeah. To unlock level 3 for the bunker, this is mitigated by doing the weekly, and you have to do it on other. Basically, if you wanted to do this on one character, you don't have level 3 and you can't get weapons yet. You have to do it on other characters because it takes 107 bounties. Not
Yeah.
even the regular ones, 107 like normal bounties. So there hasn't been enough on one character yet to unlock rank 3. Now that can be mitigated when you buy the purchase that makes it cheaper, and then you do the weeklies and stuff like that. If you do your weeklies on all 3 characters, you're looking at something like 60 or 70 bounties. But still, 60 or 70 bounties just to start working on my fucking weapons.
Season of the
What
bounties.
the fuck?
We had
Like
complained.
seriously, I was just like, oh my god. Now they did put variety in the bounties. I'll give them that. It's not literally the same fucking 5 things over and over. They put some variety into them.
It
But
feels
oh
like
my
the same
god.
5 things.
Yeah, I mean, they added a few more, but still, oh my, it's literally I'm doing the same bounties over and over and over, just grinding, and I had
Yeah.
to do it on all 3 characters, and it was even harder because I haven't played my Warlock in forever because I don't give a fuck about Warlock. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they weren't even like they were like light level like 930 something. I was like, fuck. You know,
Yeah.
like it's just a grind.
It is
Like
just a grind
107
fest.
bounties on one character.
So people have already complained, and
What?
we've complained extensively
And
that
that's one bunker. We have
Yeah,
other bunkers that are gonna
yeah,
unlock.
there's 2, 3 other bunkers besides the one on Earth.
Yeah.
People
I
have
was
already
just like,
complained
"Holy
extensively
shit."
that we're tired of this every season just being about bounties. Why are we just doing bounties? We're just doing bounties all the time. Last season we were just doing bounties in order to get time weapons and to get fractaline and all that shit. We were just doing bounties, you know? This season we're just doing bounties again. We have viciously complained about the fact that you haven't added any new strikes. We haven't gotten a new raid since Shadowkeep. If we're ever going to get a new raid, we don't know that. They didn't add a new difficulty.
Well,
Not
it's
for the
not there
raid.
yet.
They're not going to add one. They're not doing.
No. I meant for strikes. I meant for the Nightfall. They added a new difficulty.
The Nightfall specifically, they are going to add a new difficulty. But in all honesty, that's not what I'm worried about, or concerned about, or even talking about. They haven't added any new mechanics to strikes.
Yeah, one thing I want to say about that, they added a new difficulty, and people are like, "Cool, that'll be fun." But the new difficulty is basically just set at a light level that is impossible to grind to. So it's just you going in under geared. That's what makes it more difficult. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I thought maybe it would add new mechanics, new stuff. No, it's just a new light level that you literally can't reach.
Yep.
So
that's how Bungie increases difficulty. They just make you die faster.
Oh, and then I ran into the issue where I couldn't clear my bunker because I wasn't built for my Titan to and he's the highest he's the highest light level. I couldn't clear the bunker because I wasn't built to use overload rounds, and I didn't have a weapon because I had already scrapped, and I can't reacquire the weapon because it's a random roll. So I literally just had to fight stuff until one of them dropped a weapon that I could load overload rounds into to go clear the bunker, because the 2 overload captains that spawn down there literally heal up faster than you can damage them unless you use overload rounds.
Or let's talk about the fact that exotics.
So I just had to farm a weapon.
Let's talk about the fact that exotics still can't use seasonal mods.
Right. Like, let me plug overload rounds into an exotic. Fixed. Or let me reacquire old stuff.
Literally,
like, why is it in the collection if I can't get it again?
They've had this system for since October of 2019. They've had this system since then. Why do exotics not have just a slot that says seasonal mods only? I'm not saying allow exotic to use seasonal mods only. Would fix everything.
They need 2 slots. They need the seasonal mod, and they need the seasonal extra thing like Warmind sells this season. I think that would be really cool and add a lot more to like the combination and gameplay that you can get out of that if you could.
I don't necessarily think they need that, because that may make exotics a little too powerful with some combinations. in PvE content where it would just be cruise mode, easy mode. But this is another thing that I want to talk about is Bungie's relentlessness.
But they're talking about making some exotics weaker certain seasons and stuff, so that would,
They're also talking about leaving weapons behind, by the way. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're talking about making them weaker and leaving them behind, where, like, if you try to run them in a season, it's not going to be as good.
It's not, I don't know that they're going to include exotics in this, because Luke Smith did not say anything about exotics. He just said certain weapons. I'm assuming he's talking about legendaries, because if you start leaving exotics behind, which are considered a core piece of in-game content, people would be pissed. And people are already kind of pissed about leaving certain weapons behind because Bungie's not introducing enough new, unique weapons. You know what my favorite thing about Destiny 1 was whenever we had a new season start up, which they weren't really called seasons then, it was more or less expansions. My favorite thing about Destiny 1, whenever a new expansion or whatever was starting up, was that there was a whole new set of weapons on vendors and whole new sets of armor with curated perks, curated roles. And if you wanted a random roll of that weapon, you had to get it in that activity. Why did we change that? Why the fuck did we change that? What happened? You're telling me that I can get a curated roll that could be very good from this vendor, or it could be very bad, and then I can go get a random roll from the activity it's related with. So if it was a Vanguard weapon, you had to do Vanguard activities like strikes. If it was a Crucible weapon, you had to do Crucible activities like Crucible.
I also want to complain about what's on screen, because I consider it bad game design. The public event.
Yeah.
You basically you have to stand on a pad, right? To protect it from the enemies, and they'll spawn orbs, and then you have to throw that orb at another tower, the one that's lit up, to charge it, right?
The tower spawns orbs, not enemies.
So
yeah. But
you have to throw it. But none of that is explained. Like when you pick up the orb, it doesn't show you where to throw it or anything. So I've gotten into so many that fail because no one knows what to do with it. And they think because it doesn't show you what's supposed to be done, which most of the time when you pick up an orb it does. The only other times in this game that it hasn't is when I throw that orb at enemies. So everybody's now throwing these orbs at enemies, and I'm like, no, stop, you idiots! You're fucking up the event. And so we failed it so many times, and I'm just like,
my other complaint with this is, and this will probably be resolved with light levels, but it was very hard to do this activity with less than 4 people. Less than 4 people at launch, it was pretty much impossible. And this was one of your main methods of grinding stuff out. Launch.
They want you to this and the legendary lock sectors. They basically want you to be at 980 or you're gonna get your shit kicked in.
Yeah. It was so hard.
Or you need a full group to do it. Otherwise, it's, and if someone in your group doesn't know what they're doing, fail.
So incredibly hard. And it just didn't make any sense. Like, hey, here's your primary new grind activity for this season. By the way, you're gonna suck at it for like the next week. What? 2 weeks if you're lazy.
And they're supposed to be more of these,
you have the day
but
job.
It's just going to be the same thing on the moon, and then the same thing on Mars or something. Like, if they wanted to do that, ramping difficulty, you know what I mean? Like make the one that releases 2 weeks from now, whenever the hell it releases, I don't know. Make that the one that you need 980 for. That, you know what I mean? Like, have them, I don't know. That's just...
I think they should just bother to take the time to put in slightly different activities with interesting mechanics. Oh God, what an interesting idea.
Right. Yeah, like, it seemed like they heard the complaint about all we're doing is repeating bounties over and over, and they were like, cool, let's add in 5 more different types of bounties. That'll solve it. No, it gives me more variety, but I'm still just repeating fucking bounties over and over.
Okay, well, you can repeat this public event over and over again. It's not like y'all don't grind those enough anyway.
Yeah, like I said, and the bad thing is because my favorite lore is around Exos and the Warmind and Rasputin, I'm I almost feel obligated to like grind some of this shit just because I want to find out the story. Because we've only got a
I
barely little, but like the PvE content, like when it comes to story, is like bare bones. We've barely got anything so far.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
assume we're gonna get more as the new stuff releases. Like
yep.
we got it was like 2 cutscenes and like 1 mission really, and that's it. Like it was,
I
yeah,
don't
it
even
was.
care if they gave us cutscenes. Give us voice lines explaining shit as we're doing it, as long
Yeah,
as you're bothering to explain stuff or give us details. They don't even do that. We don't need the cutscenes, for fuck's sake, guys. Why are you working on that so hard? And they're saying, oh, the world of Destiny is ever. No, you fucking assholes. It's not ever changing. You got, and there's a lot of, so on Glassdoor. Glassdoor is a website where you can look up companies and people write reviews about the companies that they work for. A lot of the reviews here recently about Bungie is that upper management communication and leadership is just piss poor, and I totally believe that because, well, the game's suffering a lot. The second thing is that Bungie's working on a second project, a second IP. What is it? We don't know. But a lot of people believe that a lot of resources are being taken away from Destiny for the second project. And they're probably right. Bungie would take away basically a whole development team's worth of resources from Destiny for the second project. So Destiny's it's been put on the back burner for Bungie, basically, even if they're not going to admit that. Oh no, no, you're not. You're working on your other game. You have a whole other team dedicated to it. And what's really going to piss people off is when Bungie publishes their other game next year or the year or 2 years from now, whatever it is, however long it takes, and Destiny's kind of just still in a shitty state and left behind. Luke Smith's director cut that he wrote, I liked a lot about what Luke Smith talked about in that director's cut. I liked a lot of his wording. I liked a lot of his phrasing. But the fact of the matter is, they're not doing it. I don't care how much he talks about it or how much he says it, they're not doing it.
Agreed. And like when they left Activision, there was this big hope that they were gonna do like all these great stuff with Destiny, but it looks like their big reason for leaving Activision was because they wanted to work on a new project. And Activision wasn't letting them.
Yeah, and they wanted that IP too. They wanted basically their IP to be their own. And a lot of people, the complaints about the Eververse are still there. We get more new items in the Eververse than we do anywhere else every single season. We even got more new items in Eververse on the launch of Shadowkeep than we did of all of Shadowkeep.
Yeah, the Eververse is they made one positive change this season, but it's barely a drop in the bucket in that they're not selling those stupid like loot box type things anymore. You still get them from seasonal rewards,
engrams?
But you can't buy them. Yeah, you can't buy the random
bright
shit,
engrams. You can't buy them anymore, but instead now they have consumables which you can spend your bright dust on. So there's that.
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's barely a drop in the bucket. Like it's what this season highlights for me is all of the little issues that Destiny 2 has. That there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And it adds, and this season like highlights them. Like,
yeah,
oh
every
yeah,
single
you remember
one of them.
this little annoyance? Fucking highlight it. And
they
this
don't,
one and this one and this one and this
yeah,
one.
Yeah,
just
and the big ones are big ones are the fact that Eververse gets gets probably triple the amount of attention than actual game content does, which is stupid. That they don't reward players for they really have casualified this game. Like, okay, I loved OGD1, where you could not hit level 30 unless you were doing the raid. Oh, that was so cool. That is because it was like you're forever 28. Forever 27 if you're not doing the raid. And then there was the forever 29 because you needed just that one piece of raid gear basically to be level 30. I liked that because it meant like, oh, that dude's level 30. Oh, he grinds that raid. Okay. Right? Well, Crota or Oryx came around, Taken King, and I like that system just as much, although I still think I technically prefer D1 system, but I liked the Taken King system just as much. Basically, you could not get past a certain light level. I don't remember the light level. It's been years, guys. It's like 300, 400, something like that. You couldn't get past a certain light level without doing the raid. So when you saw somebody at a higher light level, that means, oh, they've done the raid at the very least and getting gear from there. And I thought that was great too. It rewarded players with better rewards for doing Now what? If you do the raid, what are the better rewards? Don't tell me it's Pinnacle, because we all know power means jack fucking shit with artifacts right now. If you go grind bounties day in, day out, back to bounties we go again, you'll be more like what kind of gear you get from the raid and to hit your power cap of your armor and your weapons won't matter, because you just grind out your artifact. So they're not rewarding players for doing more difficult activities, and it's shitty.
They also, I think it's been a thing, but it's really relevant during this season. You remember how with Shadowkeep they they did a lot to fix the whole new light experience, to make it where, like, if you're brand new coming into the game, you can jump in and start playing with your friends and doing the recent content. Yep. That's gone. That is gone. If you start a new character now and you activate this season, right? You get out of the main stuff and you activate the season, you'll get the seasonal gear that puts you at like 930 something light level, like 935 or something. And you get your shit kicked in by everything.
Where did you hear that from? Because I've not heard that it's gone, although I haven't made a new character. I know that they're working on it to address the new light level experience that a lot of people complained about, which that's the thing they're working on. New players are complaining about the new light experience, but fuck all the old players.
I watched someone who was like, I'm coming back to Destiny 2. I haven't played in forever. So they started a new character and they activated the seasonal stuff and their armor was like 930 something. And literally, like, anything from this season they tried to do, they just got their shit kicked in and died. They had to go farm
so it's
content. You could not jump in and do something.
It's not gone, but you're saying that they get 930 gear.
Yeah, it's basically like, yeah, there's with the launch of Shadowkeep, their goal with that was new light. You can get in and start playing with your friends and playing the current content right away, right? And at the launch of Shadowkeep, that worked. Since then, it's gotten, steadily away from that, but not as bad as like this season. I feel like this season it's like the worst.
I think
enemies show up as skulls and you get one shot.
I think what they're doing with that, because essentially at 930, what you have to do then is play through Shadowkeep content, and Shadowkeep content will get you relatively close to basically what 960, which is I think, or 950 is the new soft cap.
Yeah, because like if you start a brand new character and activate the seasonal armor and put it on, which is the best you're gonna get at that moment, a Dreg is a skull and will one shot you.
Yeah, but your new soft cap is 950, so any blue that you get will be an upgrade to 950. So you just got to grind a little bit to hit 950, and then you can do some pinnacle activities. Or not even pinnacle activities, just powerful rewards will get you to 960, and then pinnacles beyond that. So I wouldn't really say that that's gone. It just requires a little bit more grinding than maybe people are accustomed to. What I will say is that Bungie did not bother to explain what's going on for those new light players. Which is a huge fucking misstep, because they're new players. How the fuck are they supposed to know?
Yeah, it's at the point right now where, like, if someone asks me, should they get into Destiny 2 as a new player to come play with me, I'm gonna ask, are you down to grind for like, a few days or a week? Because if not, there's no reason for you to come in, because you're not gonna be playing. Like, you just wait.
I mean, in my opinion, I don't think that new light system should be there. I think they should start them out at like 10 light, and they have to go through, if the Red War campaign was any good, I would say they should go through it. I think they should start them out at like, I don't know, 600 or 700 light or something, make them go through Forsaken, and then make them go through Forsaken content and Shadowkeep. Because Forsaken and Shadowkeep are pretty okay, in my opinion. Neither one of them are great. Neither one of them are as good as TTK, but they're okay. I think they should start them there and have them go there.
You get people that hear that and then be like, oh, when I buy this game to play with my friend who's convinced me to buy it, I got weeks worth of or months worth of stuff, depending on how much you play, before I can ever be with them. And then they're going to be even further out of my range by then, and blah blah. So they were trying to solve that issue of people just not getting into the game because they weren't in it at launch. There's no reason to get into it.
How is that different from any other MMO? And Bungie said we're an MMO.
It's not, but that's always been an issue with MMOs that they said they were trying to solve.
So here's the other thing.
That's why MMOs later in their lifetime just slowly lose people.
Here's the other thing I'll say about this is that I don't actually necessarily mind them not doing it for seasonal content. I do mind them not doing it if it's for big expansions. Like if we have a new expansion this September, which we probably will, unfortunately, dear God. Then they should do the New Light thing. But seasonal content, I mean, would you tell somebody to come play this right now?
If they're not already a player, no. That's my thing.
I wouldn't tell them. I would say it's not worth the experience, period. Whether you're a player or not. It's not worth it right now. It's not good. It's not fun. It's not interesting. It's the same old shit we've been doing.
I guess it's just I've seen like the past 2 seasons, you know what I mean? It wasn't as relevant as it is here. Like it's much like the past 2 seasons, you still had to do some work to get up there with everybody else, but you could at least get in there and do something. This season, they show up as skulls and they one-shot you. Like the weakest enemy in the game.
Right, because they're 980. Like because the new power cap is 1,000. I don't think that's a problem because that's always been the case with that. So here's where I can see you think it's a problem. That has always been the case when it comes to new expansions. That new content just kicks your ass and you're definitely not prepared to do it. But the problem here is there's not really enough different content to go grind to make you feel like there's stuff worth doing to level up yourself. You just got to basically, you go back, like you're going to go back to doing your weekly powerfuls is what you're going to go back to doing. There's no difference there. And I think that's the problem is that there's this large power gap and we're going back to weekly powerfuls again on a new season that we already done and we're all used to doing. Why?
Yeah, it's like if someone new comes into the game, I'm not going to.
I don't think
them to come play the new stuff.
I'm
going to have them go farm old stuff before they can come play the new stuff.
I don't think they're being
with previous seasons. They could come in and at least play with me. They're still going to be weaker and they're not going to do as good, but they can at least come and play with me.
I mean, they still can, but they got to do old content. I think new content should have a power gap. You know,
I can agree, but I just think it's more maybe it's too much or something for me because it's way more noticeable for new players this.
I think and it's because last season we only jumped up 10 light. This season we're jumping up 40.
That's probably it.
I will say that there's not enough noticeable content to demand such a large power change. That's what I'll say. I don't think they should have taken
I think maybe over the season there might be, but they time gated everything in the season.
Yeah,
there's one event, there's one bunker, and there's one legendary lost sector right now. That's it.
That's the other thing I want to talk about is
everything else is time gated.
I don't know that there's only one legendary lost sector.
That's all you can get access to right now is one legendary lost sector. More will release, or maybe I'm missing something. Like I can do a mission for one of them. It's in the bunker. You activate it.
You can do a mission for one of them, but you can do any. I believe you can do any lost sector legendary. I believe. I could be wrong on that.
No. It's specific. You have to activate it under legendary mode by activating the mission. Otherwise, you're just going to the old.
Well, that's really fucking stupid.
Yeah, there's one. I mean, there's going to be more, but right now there's one event
Yeah,
the
but
tower events.
okay,
There's one bunker
okay.
and one
Right,
legendary
right, right,
lost
right, right.
sector.
Yeah, we know that. But that means that there's only going to be some lost sectors that are legendary, not all.
Correct. Correct. It's gonna be like 4 or 5. They're not doing all of them. I understand. I had to say like yep. They're not doing all of them. It's not all lost sectors are going legendary. It's no, we're releasing these ones. Gunz is gone.
Why?
I can actually pull it up. I'll get the number for it. Hold on. Because it's like I said, it's only so many. And it's gonna be like there's like one on Earth, and then when they release the bunker somewhere else and the event somewhere else, there's gonna be one there, and then you know what I mean. Like there's give me a second. I got it for you. Just give me 1 second. I gotta pull this back up. It's something I had up.
You know what? I don't want to know the truth because I don't know that I can handle it, Brian. I don't know that I can handle it,
Go
Brian.
to the calendar.
I don't know that I can handle it. Yep. Nope. Can't handle it.
Yeah, we're getting we have the EDZ Seraph bunker, right? We're getting one on the moon on like it says the 24th, I think is we're supposed to get it, right? And we're also getting new legendary lost sector with that. And then we're getting one on Io on April the 7th, a new bunker and a legendary lost sector with that. It says legendary lost sectors, but it said the same thing for the Seraph bunker EDZ and then legendary lost sectors, but we got one. That's it. So I think when they say legendary lost sectors, they mean over the whole season they're releasing legendary lost sectors, but there's only gonna be like 3 or 4.
This is why I don't play this game anymore. I can't even, like, I'm so just like, why am I spending my, why? Fucking why? My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
Yeah, right now it's the legendary Scavenger's Den lost sector. Just the one. I just looked it up. I'm making sure I'm not talking out of my ass here because I've made mistakes before, but okay, I am talking out of my ass. It's still not all of them, but there is supposed to be also Skydock 4 and the Quarry on Earth. So they're releasing 3 on Earth. I guess we just haven't gotten access to them yet. Maybe it's a weekly thing, during the time where
So
which one's
like
active
9
during
total
a certain
then?
day.
That's still...
Yeah, that's still only like
whatever.
9 total.
Fuck off.
Yeah, it's still like 9 total. It's not. I when they originally announced it, I was excited because I thought we were gonna get that with every lost sector, and it was gonna add some cool new stuff to it. But it's not really. No, it's better than I originally mentioned a second ago. I was talking out of my ass, but it's still not good. It's yeah, and that's and they're on rotations. You can do one at a time. Like I can do one today. That's it, and that's also the same one I could do yesterday. So I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know the rotation of it.
I don't get it,
know
Bungie.
the rotation of it.
I don't understand. Why are you so... You know what Bungie is? Bungie is this kid that's just like super smart and like knows all these things, and like if they try to do something they can just do it, and it's awesome. And you're like, wow, Bungie, you could grow up and be a doctor or an engineer or a great scientist. And then Bungie drops out of high school and works at McDonald's instead.
Yeah, it's like I look at the stuff they've done in the past that was so good that's not there anymore. I also look at like the core gameplay, the run and gun, the abilities. I look at things that they've done right this season, like the Warmind cells and the mods for that and stuff that can make things a lot of fun. And I'm like, oh, we could have so much more. Like, why is the rest of this just trash? Like, it's just I'm repeating the same thing over and over and over.
Why? 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 That hurts. It hurts me
Yeah.
here.
It's another one of those things where I see the potential of what it could have been, and it's not. I don't want to. I feel like maybe I'm being too hard on it
No,
because there
you're
were good
not.
things. There were good things. Like I said, the Warmind Cells thing is great. You know, there's a few other things that are that, but it's. I feel like
I've just gotten
they're taking baby steps in the right direction when we should have had fucking jumps.
They're
We
not
should have
even
had
baby
jumps by
steps.
now.
They're not even. It is a baby step in the right direction, and then a marathon back the other way to Fucksville where nothing matters. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. We have so aggressively complained about this stuff.
I told you I have mixed feelings about this thing right now. Because yeah, I'm probably gonna finish out the weapons that I need to purchase and stuff right now, and then pause until they release the next set of time-gated content.
I
because I want to see if the story continues.
I didn't finish last season at all. I only did like 56, 57 levels of the season pass because I was just not interested. Even though
the only reason I finished last season was the Christmas event because I had never done that one because I skipped it the year before.
But
that's the only reason.
But the you know, I liked the armor and I liked some of the cosmetics and stuff like that. I don't give a shit about any of the stuff this season. The cosmetics from the armor I think look like ass. A lot of the shit in the season pass.
No, yeah, the base armor looks better than the ornaments in my opinion. The base armor looks better than the armor.
It's terrible. It's fucking terrible.
I do like the look on some of the guns and stuff. But I can't reacquire them, so it's gonna be unless I hang on to these things and try to level them up for 3 years. You know what I mean? Which they said they're gonna leave them behind. Then they're all gonna be, you know, like that doesn't feel good when you know. Yeah, I don't know. When I work hard to get something and then they make it useless,
I talked about this. Listen, I talked about this before the release of Shadowkeep because I was unhappy with Seasons and the way it was going. And I'm still the same way. Just go quiet for like a couple of years, Bungie. Don't do anything for Destiny 2. Tell us that you're not going to do anything for Destiny 2. And that you're going to go work on Destiny 3. Because, for fuck's sake, do you need to reboot this? Like, this time I would actually be happy if you bothered to rework all these. It's so terrible. There's so many little bad things. So many little, just terribly, terribly bad things that don't have the interest of the player at all.
Yeah, like I said, I have super mixed feelings about this season. Probably leaning more towards the negative, but I did put a lot of time into it. So, but I think we've talked about this game too much.
We have.
Let's talk about something else.
Let's end the podcast on a positive note.
All right, yeah. So I'm curious what you bring to the table here. Let's talk.
Positive news. We're gonna talk about Warzone. A little bit, and then I also actually want to talk about the Division 2 again. A little bit.
Yeah, Warzone. It's like they made it free for everyone. They're kind of trying to make it their new base, and then people can buy the extra stuff on top of it.
Yeah,
which is cool. It's cool, and I looked at it and I was like, "That's so cool," but it wasn't excited enough to make me want to download and play it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like, I was just like, "That's so cool! I'm glad you're doing that for people." I'm gonna keep playing this other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's literally, if you want to download it, it's 100 fucking gigs.
Is it that big?
Yup.
Holy shit.
Because I reinstalled it for Warzone, and with all the other content, it was about 160. If you just want Warzone, it's around 100 gigs. First off, Activision, that needs to be way smaller. It needs to be like 30 gigs.
What is with compression ratios lately? Like, there's like proportionately bigger games that are much smaller downloads and file space on your PC.
Oh yeah, Arc is like a 40 gig download, and when it uncompresses, it's 160. Let that one sink in.
I guess Bungie's still using Activision's compression ratios, and Activision's compression ratios are just bad.
I was talking about Ark, the dinosaur game.
No, yeah, I was talking about because that's an example of a decent one. I was talking about
Okay.
This one being what it is, and also Bungie being as big as or Destiny 2 being as big as it is when it really shouldn't be. There are much bigger games that are much smaller.
Yeah.
Much smaller downloads and much smaller space taking up even after they've been unpacked.
Anyway, Warzone. I like it. I do. I think it's fun. And I've had fun with it. It has some difficulties, some growing pains, maybe. Oh, hang on. Can we just come in on me getting this crispy 3-piece here? Maybe. It has some difficulties and some growing pains. But they've taken some of the better things out of Battle Royales and they've put them here. So number one, they have a revive system like Apex does, but they have a money system in it too, which I actually really like this money system, and I think this is dope. So when you can find money around the map, you can complete bounties and get money, secure targets, or kill certain players to get money and bonuses in it. I'm playing with Kittens here. So you can do that to get that money. You can also kill players and take their money. They drop it when they die. They also drop all their utility, their armor packs, their consumables, their weapons, stuff like that. That's cool. I like that. The other thing that they do is that you can buy your friends back with money. You can buy their life back with money. But if your friends die, they go to the gulag. And the gulag puts them in a 1v1 match. 1 life, 1 kill type of deal. Oh, watch this, 6 snipe. Oh. Yeah, and then I get the team wipe right there. But there was another sniper I couldn't find him. And I'm trying to rescue Kittens here because I literally just paid to get him up and I have no money and armor and I really need his help to help deal with this sniper, but I can't. I think I see him like right here for a second, but I don't realize that I do. And I try to go get Kittens and yep, right in front of my eyes.
Damn.
But you can buy your friend's life back. If they lose within like I think the first 20 minutes of the game, they go to the gulag. And the gulag, they go into a 1v1 match. If they win, they get their life back. They get to go back into the game. So usually you wait for them to go out of the gulag and then come back because that's kind of like a free revive. If they lose in the gulag, then you don't have to spend the money to get them up. They let you buy a ton of things from these stores, which are around the map. And in the stores, you can buy armor plates, utilities, kill streaks, things like that. And they don't let you buy crazy powerful kill streaks. They let you buy UAVs, cluster strikes, and a few other things. So if you wanted to like target a specific area, you could do that, but you can't get like an AC-130 and just rain hellfire down on the map. Which is great. There is one thing I don't like, and it's self-revive. I like the idea of it, but not necessarily the implementation here because it's too easy. So you can buy a self-revive kit. And what that means is that if somebody downs you and you have a self-revive kit, you can pick yourself back up. Now you have to buy it, which is somewhat balanced, but the thing I don't like about it is that if you don't have any teammates around, it's no problem for you if you have the self-revive kit, as long as the player isn't right on your ass. I feel like with the gulag system in place and the ability to buy your teammates' life back, they should get rid of self-revive because they're already giving enough second chances there. It really just feels like when...
I could see the use for something like self-revive, but they like you doing it yourself seems kind of like if I have a self-revive on me and I'm playing with you, right? This would make more sense to me. If I have a self-revive on me and I'm playing with you, that self-revive gives you the ability to reach my corpse and revive me because I bought that revive thing. You get what I'm saying?
Like long after you're dead.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Like past the point of downed?
Yeah.
So the player that killed you would still get the kill?
Yes.
Okay, I actually like that a little bit,
Yeah,
but
I
I
think
like that
that would
idea
be
better
cool.
than the current implementation. But yeah, so the problem is with the self-revive, because when you shoot them, they go into a down state, and then you have to finish them off. The current problem with the self-revive is that it feels so hard to kill somebody, and they stay dead in this current meta, and that's very frustrating, because they already have 2 chances to come back. They have the gulag for themselves, and they have their teammate to buy back their life. So you're already getting 2 additional chances to get back into this BR, which I think's awesome. I think that system works great and is really rewarding for players, because the person that kills you still gets the kill and you still get a chance to come back into the BR. That works. It's awesome. It also means that high kill games are common. I dropped a 20
think
bomb.
I'd like the whole down state and just bringing yourself right back up thing. I don't think I would.
So yeah, there's that. The other thing I like is the lobby. So the lobby, it spawns you in with a random loadout, and well, that was embarrassing. The lobby spawns you in with a random loadout, and with this random loadout, you are on the map. Everyone, all 150 players, which by the way, it's 150 players. You're all in this one zone, and you can kill each other, and it gives you experience points towards your weapons that you have. Now, it gives you random weapons, but it's just like going to level up in Team Deathmatch. So you're actually
in the waiting lobby, you actually have something to do besides just run around and wait.
In the waiting lobby, you're actually making progress towards weapons, experience, attachments, and leveling yourself up.
Cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's great. There's a lot of really good things I like about this. They had a ton of server issues because it was free, and the download was 100 gigs, so suddenly you have probably millions of people attempting to download 100 gigs from Blizzard servers. They were on fire, to say the least. A lot of stability issues for the first couple of days. That seems to be hammered out mostly for the most part right now. They stabilized that pretty quickly. The gameplay itself, the TTK is, the TTK at medium to long ranges feels really good. Strangely enough, I actually agree with Dr. Disrespect on this. The TTK at short ranges feels a little too fast, because it's a little janky. You're basically, like, when you fight somebody at close range, the TTKs, you're basically just waiting for somebody to slip up. It's a little much. I think it needs some adjustment. But aside from that, everything else feels really good. Really, utility use, dead silence, perks, all that stuff. All the stuff in the multiplayer is in this BR, and it's dope. It works well. I really enjoy it. My problem, again, that I'll come back to is that, they're gonna have I hope Activision, don't replace this next year. Make this your BR, because this one's good. Don't have another one come out next year by another studio developing another Call of Duty. Really gonna kill the buzz for this, and it kills the investment in it. Why am I gonna buy skins for this game if it's gonna get replaced next year?
Yeah, and what I heard is they're trying to look at this as like the new base for the game because it's free, and then it encourages you to like buy the multiplayer or the single player and the other stuff. You know what I mean, as add-ons, and then you can keep that, and just when you add the new single player, you know what I mean, next year or whatever, just do the same thing. Just don't get rid of this.
I would be.
Battle Royale
I'm
is
fine.
not a game. A Battle Royale is not a game that you can release another one, a new one every year or two.
Yeah, fatigue will set in very quickly.
Yeah, you gotta stick with these things.
I personally, I really hope that they can release another Call of Duty next year with another multiplayer, arena styled multiplayer. That'd be fine with that. Just don't release another BR. Make this the BR of Call of Duty.
Yeah, have this still be bundled with it, still be, because it's free, still, still be included.
Yeah.
It's just all part of it.
Yeah, just that's my opinion of it. And it'd be great. I'd stick to it. I'd want to purchase. Right now, I don't. I see a lot of skins that I like, and I'm like, man, I want to buy that, but no, I don't, because it's like, oh, that costs fucking $20. So I've given Activision.
At the moment, you don't know what they're gonna do because it's like, based on what they've done in the past, So it's just like, like we gotta wait and see.
So, but yeah, it's a really fun VR. I really like it. I had a lot of fun with it. I've actually been playing with it with my brother some. And that's the other thing I really like. My brother's on console up in Pittsburgh, and I've been playing with him. And we have a fun time. Him being on console, me being on PC with crossplay. It's really, really nice that we get to play together. And I really, really enjoy that. But yeah, man, yeah. So it's fun. I like it. I enjoy it. I'll probably be playing more of it in my spare time, downtime, or off time on the stream. I'm not gonna be playing Destiny. Fuck that game, honestly. And the other thing that I'll be playing aside from this GTRP, Warzone, and The Division, and VR, is The Division, which is something I already said. I've really been enjoying The Division and the grind currently within it, and just how much fun I'm having within The Division itself and how it feels, the current grind of it. So right now, myself, Azid, Raven, Tex, Crash have been working on builds. We've been working on a number of builds to prepare ourselves for the raid. So Azid and I have 2 different tech builds that are slightly varying. Azid and I both run the sniper turret, but he runs a healing with his. I run sticky bomb, so he's more kind of a semi-support role, and I'm more of a pure damage-based role. I run the tech builds are different. We've been experimenting a lot with them, and they're a lot of fun, I gotta say. It's just been a ton of fun. There's a lot of variance in them. There is some complaints that I have that some skills aren't viable, still, even after all that time, but it's a lot better than it used to be. What I'm currently running right here is a striker build, which is a red build. I'm running weapon damage and crit hit mostly on a exotic LMG called the Bullet King, which means I don't have to reload. That's what the exotic LMG does, the Bullet King. And Strikers works that the more hits you accumulate on a target, the more damage you do. So the sustain of this build, the sustain damage that this build can do is like, well, for reference, let me give you what a good build DPS is. A good build can do anywhere from 5 to 8 million DPS at endgame. The sustained damage, which is not what I'm often going to get on most targets, but over about 30 seconds. The sustained damage of this build is like 25 million DPS.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking dope. So for melting big targets, big chunky armored dudes, this build's fucking nuts. But my tech build has a lot more spiky damage, and we've actually been playing around with the Artificer from a tree that you can get, and the Artificer increases skill damage. So Aziz's been experimenting with that, and we've discovered some very nasty combos. And so we're going to be playing around with that some more. The Artificer ends up making more skills a lot more viable. There's still some problems here and there with tuning CC, weapon finickiness, or not weapon finickiness, skill finickiness. Sometimes the turret just like points that way and like doesn't look at the enemy you're aiming at, and you're like, turret, and it's like, It's like, what are you doing? The AI finickiness of your automated turret is a huge pain in the ass sometimes. We were doing White Oak facility yesterday, and my turret just got blown up immediately by an enemy, and I go, well, at least one of our turrets is working correctly. And Azid said, I'm not sure about that. And I turned around and it's aimed straight up in the sky. And I just couldn't help but fucking laugh my ass off at it, because it's like, yeah. But for the most part, the builds are huge variety. Tex has had 2 tanking builds that he's been running. Tex has been running a Patriot build, which he runs a huge amount of armor on, armor regen, and an LMG with a Patriot 4 set piece. So he debuffs all the enemies and buffs us for additional damage. It's quite good. And then he also has a shield build, which he uses a pistol with. He tried one with a shotgun, And I think he's eventually going to run the shotgun build because there is a shotgun that one-shots people when you melee them. It one-shots lower level enemies. I think he's going to eventually run that, which is going to be really dope because it's going to increase his kill ability for smaller enemies by a ton. But it allows him to get in their face. And then Raven recently was running a very complicated, I won't say complicated, very good healing build. And it made Tex basically indestructible as a tank. And it was so awesome because he would just stand there and eat all this damage, and a Zed Knight could just lay into everything like it was no problem whatsoever. And a lot of people are complaining that it's a little too difficult. I may agree that Heroic is just slightly too difficult, maybe, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as everybody is complaining about. I really actually enjoyed just how good challenging is. I feel like it is challenging. And that it does require some skill and some coordination from a group. I think people are mad because they want to be able to run an entire red-based build, which is all damage and no protection whatsoever, and they want to be able to solo challenging and heroic difficulties. And it's like, that's not gonna happen. This is a multiplayer co-op team-based game. Get over yourself. But for some reason, they think that's what it should be. So a lot of people are complaining that it's just way too hard right now, and I don't agree.
You actually just reminded me of something that I meant to say about Destiny 2, but didn't. Because you complained about Tommy's matchbook.
I did.
I actually like that. I think it's something they did right because of the interplay. I did on my Titan, which has high resilience and high recovery. If I have someone, like, if I'm like playing a strike or a boss, or up against a boss, and I have a warlock with me, they throw down the healing rift with my high resilience and recovery and their healing rift. I can just unload Tommy's matchbook and do a fuck ton of damage with that thing. And that's a cool like combo thing that they did. But yeah, that's whatever. We're not talking about Destiny anymore. But I it sounds like, I mean, the thing that worries me because of the Division 2 and also the Division in the past is this all sounds great. But how long is it going to last, and when are we getting more stuff? Because it's,
so
like,
here's my thing.
What you're doing, how long do you expect that to last you before it just gets like, I'm done doing this stuff?
Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you about the seasonal content that they've got running right now. So
yeah, that's what I want to hear about.
In my opinion, the Division 1 was great since like patch 1.8 and forward. I love the Division 1. Thought it was great. This patch, I think it feels a lot like Division 1 again. Really enjoy it. Everybody caught themselves on fire here. I really enjoy it. They have seasonal content that is kind of tied to the story. So there's 5 high value rogue agents that are in a group. They're like Neptune, Venus, Saturn, and like they're all named after planets.
Yeah.
You have a list of objectives that you have to do in order to get access to the bounty for this rogue agent. And the rogue agent themselves can be pretty nasty on higher difficulties. We were burning a lot of resources just to make this guy go down at a reasonable rate. And it was a good challenge. I really liked it. There's a new target every week for the next 5 weeks. There's there's a new target throughout the season. There's 5 targets in total. I think there's a new one every 2 weeks or something like that. But they're also going to be releasing leagues, which leagues are speed runs. Basically, they're going to designate an event, or a strike, a mission for you to play, and the league challenge is going to designate specific challenges. Like most damage, most kills, speed running it, how fast can you do it, things like that. They're also going to release global events as well starting this season, which is a callback to Division 1 global events. Global events have special modifiers. So the global event modifier coming up, I believe this week or next week, is polarities. You will have a certain polarity, and the enemy will have a certain polarity. Shooting the right polarity means you do increased damage. Shooting the wrong polarity means that you do damage to yourself. And you have ways to switch your polarity and help your teammates out. So it's both a give and take kind of event. You do more damage or you take damage. And so that'll be pretty interesting. Not only that, but we're gearing up very heavily for the raid at the moment, and we're working on our team comp for that, and that's always been something that we're striving towards. I'm actually very excited about the new raid coming up. I really enjoyed the raid in the Division 1. I had some problems with it, particularly I thought the last boss was just not very well done. The last boss felt like they wanted a lot of complicated mechanics to make it seem like a real hell of a fight, and I think they just made it too complicated was the problem there. But the other 3 fights I really enjoyed. Buddy and Lucy was probably my favorite because Buddy and Lucy was a real challenge and required team coordination. And it showed because if you had very, very good team coordination, Buddy and Lucy is easy. But if your team is lacking in coordination, Buddy and Lucy is one of the more challenging fights that there is. And so I really enjoyed the raid in the Division 2 when it first came out. It felt like old style WoW raid progression to me, and I really liked it. So I'm hoping this raid is very much the same.
Sounds definitely sounds interesting. It sounds like there's a lot more to do.
Yeah,
in this, because this is an expansion. But there's a lot more to do in this expansion than say like, I mean, I don't really want to compare it to the season that's currently running in Destiny 2 because that's a season, not a full expansion. But then I just look at like Shadowkeep. It's from what you're explaining, sounds like I got more to do here than I did.
So here's the thing. Everything that I just talked about is actually seasonal content, except for the raid. The actual expansion itself is the Zone of New York, the Warlords of New York, the storyline in New York, and the new activities in New York. The seasonal content itself is going to be global events and seasonal targets like this. And there is a season pass as well. That is the seasonal content. And the thing is that Division is such a large open world and it's so expansive that you always feel like you're going new places and doing new things. That's one of my main problems with Destiny, is that Destiny honestly kind of feels small. And I, even though like some people would say, oh, it's not that small, I have all these worlds. Well, you travel in between them and I don't go to this place. Like, the Division does a really good job of utilizing the whole map, whereas the Division 2 does not. Or, I'm sorry, Destiny 2 does not. It just utilizes...
Destiny 2, I get that there's different worlds, but even when you add everything together, Destiny 2 is small.
Yeah. Destiny 2 does not do a good job of utilizing all its space to keep you moving around and seeing different environments. You very much see the same environments over and over and over again, which is why it feels stale and old. Division 2 does a really good job of keeping you moving around and seeing new environments and trying new things out.
Division 1 was bigger than Destiny 2 is. Let's be honest here.
When you look at the expansion for Division 2, Warlords of New York, the map is slightly smaller than the original Division 1 map. However, in terms of scale that you can walk. However, it is of a much smaller section than New York, because the map in Division 2 is a 1-to-1 scale of downtown Manhattan, whereas the map in Division 1 was a scaled down version of Manhattan.
I did not know that either. That's awesome.
Yep. It's pretty big. It's pretty awesome.
I feel like I need to re-download Division 2 and get back into it. I'm actually looking right now, like, to put it on download again, and I'm like, yeah.
The other thing is that I've really been enjoying. You'll notice right now I'm level 23 in the season pass. I've maybe played 15-20 hours total doing stuff. Every time a global event comes on or a new target comes up, I believe they give you 15 levels boosted, if you've bought the DLC. Because they've said that they want the season pass to feel like something even a casual player can easily achieve. They don't want it to feel like something you have to work your ass off for, Destiny. So grinding levels in the season pass has been very easy for us. We just kind of naturally do it by doing activities and grinding out stuff that we're wanting to get. but I've been enjoying it a ton.
That's yeah. You have convinced me last week and this week. I've had so much other things that I'm playing, and I wanted to give this season a try for Destiny and stuff. And I'm still gonna, like I said, I'm probably gonna finish what I'm doing now, and then I'm gonna probably hop off and hop back in when they release the new stuff. But I think I need to. Yeah, I'm actually starting to download right now.
It's good.
I'm starting to download right now.
It's good, man. It's really good. It's I've gotten
starting it right now.
I've talked Kittens into playing it, and I actually need to help him level up today. Because I agreed to do that. But we always have people to play with. There's always things to do. There's always targets to go after. It feels like a wide variety of content because the map itself, the world map, is so large, and they keep you moving around it. And so you're always finding new details. Also, there are 8 new hunter mysteries. So people have been scouring for these hunter mysteries, and they're extremely interesting to go after because they're very weird, succinct puzzles that require you to do weird, complicated things. My only complaint with the hunters is that I do wish there had been some RNG or some randomness to the hunters. I kind of miss the fact that we used to see hunters out in the wilds. I wish they would bring that back. They kind of did with rogue division agents. So now there are rogue division agents which can randomly appear in missions and randomly appear out in the world. And they are a huge pain in the ass, but they tend to drop very good loot. So that's okay. They can definitely, like, if you get them in a section of a mission you're not expecting, it can make it go sour real fast if you're not prepared for them. Because they are rough. But yeah, been loving it, been enjoying it. This is what I've been, between this, Warzone, and VR, this is what I've been playing the last week, and it's had a ton of fun, man. I can't think of a day, and GTRP. That's the thing, is like, filling in GTRP takes so much time, because because you're building a character, you're building, a story and all that stuff, and you're building up your context list and getting people that you can call and hang out. Hey, what's up? That's a lot of time development as well as this. So it's, yeah, a lot of time to be spent here. We've really gone over today.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot to talk about though, like, because there was some big updates and some big stuff. So, I think, sometimes they're long, sometimes they're short. I think it's okay.
But
hey, we're pretty okay to put on in the background and listen to.
Says one viewer that Brian talked to.
Yes. Yeah, we got a guy that told us that, and we got a guy that's leaving like questions on our thing. So we got viewer questions now. What do you think about that, Gunz?
We need more guys, more dudes.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
girls too.
Let's be honest. We're just doing this for the fun of it and to talk with each other and anything. Anyways, it's not the whole how many views we're getting, blah blah blah. That's not the main reason we're doing it at all.
It's not?
I mean, for me, anyways.
Okay.
I don't know about you.
All right, good. Go ahead and get us out of here, Brian.
All right, so this has been the Critically Casual Podcast. If you want to catch us live, you can watch us every Saturday. Sometimes at 1 p.m. one time, sometimes later because Gunz doesn't wake up.
I said get us out of here, not fucking burn me on the outro.
Catch us on twitch.tv/GunzGames, GUNZGAMES. You can also catch Gunz over on Twitter and YouTube at Gunz Games, and also 3 Guns Down. And you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at 7-Bit Brian. Yes, it's like we've talked about it before. And of course, if you can't watch it live, you can catch it on my YouTube as well.
Which you should stream more. When are you going to stream? Are you going to stream Final Fantasy for me?
I don't like streaming. No, yeah, I guess.
Good.
I'm not an entertaining streamer. The way I play games and my blank ass face while shit's running in my head and I'm excited, but I'm sitting here like it's not.
That's why I don't use a camera when I stream, because I'm focusing on the game, not my facial expressions or being funny on camera. Sometimes I'll I'll flip over to like this, or better yet, this.
Yeah, I guess I could get to the point where I start my internal dialogue. I need to get it out there, but yeah, I don't. At least Final Fantasy when it comes out, we'll get some footage for you.
But yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. It was a long one this week. Hope you guys have a good week, and you're playing all the fun stuff that is out there to do. See you guys later. Bye.